Hey you guys, what's going on? It's your big dreamer and doer, G Dinero, coming to you today with a super quick Money Monday. This one's going to be a super quick update, down and dirty, in and out, super fast. But what do we have today? We have a Tesla breakout. You can see on the little picture behind my head here, the Tesla breakout. First, remember, none of this tax, financial, legal, investment advice. It's your buddy G Dinero helping you increase your financial literacy to help put you and your family on that path to financial freedom. So let's dig in, guys. All right, here we are on the Tesla daily chart. And what do I mean by a breakout? Well, we've been talking about for a while now this 360 level. This level that's been resistance at least since late 2024, as late as November of 2024, we were finding resistance at this 360 to 365 level. But honestly, it goes back even further than that, all the way back to 2021. The crazy thing is, in October of 2021, we were at 360 to 365 with Tesla. So that's a level that we had trouble with back in the day. You see where we spiked above it a few times, came below it, above it, below it, above it, below it. We were never able to turn it into support. Okay, that's the 360 level. Now let's fast forward to where we are today. And what do you notice? Well, what I notice right out of the gates is I notice a shooting star. Basically, there's a good song out by Bad Company. Some of you are too young to remember this, but it's called Shooting Star. It's a great, great, great old classic rock tune. That's a shooting star right there, guys. It is also a gap up. How do I know so? Because if we dig in and we really, really, really dig in and look at this thing, what you'll see is we closed at 368.81 on Thursday of last week, 368.81. We opened at 370.94. There's a gap in between the two where we never traded shares. Today, we opened all the way up at 423.13 after closing at 396.69. Sorry, closing at 395.94 last Friday. So we closed around 396 and opened today all the way up at 423 and have only gone as low as 414, creating a gap here. One could say that we have partially filled the gap, but everything from here to here hasn't been filled yet. This gap never got filled either, okay? Not saying it will definitely go all the way back to there, but I know a lot of people that have been selling covered calls are very worried. They're thinking, I'm going to get called out of my shares. Well, yes, if you've got 375s or 380s expiring this Friday, I would likely take action on those if I were you. Take action as in roll them out a week, but you don't necessarily have to roll them all the way up to 400 or 450. We will likely, over the course of the week, come back down and fill this gap. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised to see us retest the 360 level, 365, before going back up again. Do we have to go all the way down to there? No. Do we have to come in and fill this gap? No. Do we have to fill this one? No. But if I were a betting man, and I don't really bet, I use technical analysis instead, these things typically fill. How do I know so? If you look back, we had a gap up right here. We had a gap up right there that filled later on down the line. In fact, just about every gap up that you go back and take a look at, here was a gap up. It's hard to see, but underneath here, this candle closed right here at 250. The next one opened at 257. There's a gap up, which came down and later filled. So it's not unusual for gaps to fill. Gap up from here to here on the daily. Filled later on. Gap up from here to here. Came back down and filled. Boy, that looks familiar, right? A shooting star right here as well. I call them shooting stars, spinning tops. They look very much the same, but basically where all of a sudden this body is just floating up in nowhere, no man's land. Where there's some big news, it gaps up hard and then ends up coming back down and filling that gap, right? I could go back and go back and go back and go back. Here's a gap up, filled, gap up, filled, They show up over and over again. Gap up, almost filled. This one did not fill. Not every single gap fills, right? Here's one right here. We closed down at 214-ish. What does it say? 213.65, gapped up. Filled the gap partially, but didn't come all the way back down again. Or did we? Eventually. Most gaps fill. Not all, but most. This one took months, from October all the way until March, in order to come back down and trade through this area where it gapped up, right? So keep that part in mind, guys. What I see on the chart right now today, I see a massive gap up. Not unusual. Elon bought over $1 billion worth of shares, 2.37 million shares or something like that. It increased his overall net worth by over $100 billion by the stock gapping up, and the fact that not just the shares he just bought, those are only up like 130 million. I say only, but when you add them to all the shares that he already owns and or options or whatever else it is, it's in the hundreds of billions of dollars of value that his net worth went up just as a result of this gap up. There was nothing else in the newswire that would have caused this. Nothing else that I was able to see. If anything, if you look at the newswire, they're talking about that the shares surged because he bought it. But if you look back, they were saying that one of the last headlines, it's not there right now, but one of the last headlines was they actually delivered less vehicles, right? Year on year. So it's not vehicle delivery. It's not the fact that Optimus is coming in years down the road. It's not the fact that full self-driving may be hitting, nationally later this year or sometime next year. It's not all of those factors that cause a gap up like this. It's the fact that Elon bought $1 billion worth of his own shares, and he didn't care what the price was. He bought them at the local high, meaning the highest it's been in months. He went ahead and bought them there. That shows that he has faith this thing's going to the moon. But it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to happen today, tomorrow, or next week. Could we see a retest coming down and filling this gap and filling this gap, retesting this area that's been significant support and or resistance historically, and then taking off to the races? Absolutely. So just keep that in mind. You're looking for this. If you missed the last pump as a place to take an entry, you might have taken a covered call up here and or taking a little bit of profits off the table if you're a trader and not an investor or a hodler. Hodlers are just going to buy shares and hold on to them for life. If you're a trader, this may have been a great opportunity to take some profits in hopes that you can buy it back lower. I know hope's not a strategy, but planning on buying back lower. Let's call it that. All right, guys, I hope you found value in today's video. If you did, give it a like. Smash that like button. Make sure you comment below. What'd you like? What'd you learn? What kind of questions do you still have? Make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you don't miss any of the updates that I'm doing here along the way. I try to do them almost, every week, definitely, sometimes every other day, every third day. I will be back for a full TA Tuesday tomorrow morning. And as always, my classes are available. You can book a course with me on TradingView or Technical Analysis, where you'll learn a lot of what I just went over with you right there. Or you can learn about how to trade options, right? I talked about covered calls. I talked about maybe selling puts if we believe it. We're back at a local bottom, right? So all those things and more are available at gdinerocoaching.com. And finally, thanks for tuning in. I'm G Dinero. I'm here to help you increase your financial literacy to help put you and your family on that path to financial freedom. Thanks again, and we'll see you tomorrow. Take care.